Hello, hello everyone. Merry Christmas. I am Certified Instructor Ted. Let's do a great little painting today. Wow, what do we got going on here? Well, we got a lot of craziness going on here. Black canvas, 12 by 16, landscape style. I've got a little bit of paint out here. Oh man, making a big old mess already. I mixed up a batch of purple using my alizarin crimson and a little bit of phthalo blue. Covered my entire canvas with the liquid clear. Put on the phthalo blue crimson mixture, or we'll just call it purple. Covered the whole thing with the purple color. Now, let's do something crazy and bring it all out. Look at this. Brand spanking new, fresh out of the package 1-inch brush. Ooh-wee. I tell you what, before we do that, look at the difference. I've used this brush a number of times here. Look at the difference with the puffiness, with the length of the bristles. They do get worn down over time. Some more than others. Depends on how crazy you get with it. So I'm going to use the old one here just to drop in some sky. And then I'll use the brand new one to do all the soft blending. So very little paint. I always tell my students, you're going to be so surprised at how little paint we need to show up here on this dark canvas. It shows up quite bright. So, what are we going to do? Well, let's figure out. We're going to have our bright spot right here. And look at this. As I work my way out, it's picking up that purple color. And I'm varying my stroke. The harder I push, the more the color comes off. The lighter I go over it, the less color. So it takes, a few times here to figure out your strokes, to figure out how hard to push to get the remainder of that white off. And look at this. We do want it to get darker and darker as I work my way out. Not really worried about the brush strokes at this point. There's some marks here and there. It's no big deal. No big deal. We're just looking to bring out that purple color. And look at that. There we go. That really stains up the brush. So I'm going to give it a quick little wash. Get out all that dirty purplish white. Get my beater bucket over here. There we go. A couple more times on the easel. My Bob tribute there. And I can do the same thing again if I need to. I start in my bright spot and then I work my way out again. And you can see everything gets a little bit lighter. As much or as little number of times you do this to get different results every time. Something like that. I'm going to call that good. I don't think I need any more. So I'm going to come back with my super fresh out of the package 1-inch brush. And I do the same thing when I'm blending. I work from the center, or my brightest spot, I should say. Same crisscross strokes. Working from the center. I said it again. Working from the bright spot and working my way outwards. You can pick up a little bit of the purple residue here as you're working your way out, and that blends with the titanium white. And look at that. We get a nice sky effect going here. Got that dirty brush? Well, if you want to go over it again, I'm going to give my brush a nice little stir out here. And you want to make sure you get all that paint thinner. So You might want to invest in some old rags or lots of paper towel here to make sure you get out all that paper paint thinner. And then yes, if you need to go over it again, you can start from the bright spot. Once again, work your way out. I think mine is pretty good for now. So let us do a little more here. I'm going to come back, pick up that same purple color in my fan brush. Same purple color I used. Maybe I'll add a little bit of the midnight black. And we're going to create, some distant clouds way off here. Look at that. And as I work my way up, I think these clouds are getting closer. So these clouds get a little bit bigger as they're moving towards the top of the canvas here. Oh, I gotta tell you, I am stuffed to the gills with Christmas dinner already. Our Christmas dinner is more of a lunch. And I don't know how traditions are in your house here, but we kind of have a tradition going on when we're just hanging out, not really doing the family, going traveling on Christmas Day. We like to mix up a huge batch of spaghetti and meatballs. We made the meatballs yesterday. We made some sausage to go with it. So today we just put it all into the pot with the spaghetti sauce and let it all get mixed in and chowed down. I'm going to come back here with a little bit of the titanium white. And here and there I'm dropping in some highlights, the appropriate spots on the cloud. And then I'm just going to drift my 1-inch brush sideways and let that kind of blur together. There we go. Got an interesting little cloud there. That's all we need. You can go over it as number of times as you want. You can add more highlights if you want. See that? And let's move on. So I'm doing a scene here today. I was so happy. One of my presents, about the same present for the last several years, is I get the Bob Ross one-a-day calendar. And here's the painting here that I'm working with. I don't normally do this, but yeah, they take that big old 18 by 24 picture, they cut it to make it a square, and I love using these as inspiration for paintings. Now I'm not going to do this particular painting. It's just an inspiration. You can already see I didn't put in the crimson in the sky, I just kept it all purple. But we are going to do a big old mountain. So, one of my recent subscribers put a comment in there, and she said she wanted to see more wintry scenes, so this one is for you. I'm going to turn this painting into a winter scene. And I'll have you know, I see each and every subscriber. I get an email here. I don't have a ton of subscribers, less than 1,000. But I see every notification personally when I get a new subscriber. So there was a new subscriber just this morning. Merry Christmas. You know who you are. This one's for you too. So I'm using this small knife here, and I'm pressing this dark color in. It's going to be a little tough to see. I get it. But that's okay. We're just looking for a basic outside border. And let's bring this sucker down a little bit, maybe make another little peeker right there. And look how I just start bringing it down right over that bright spot. Ooh, changed it. Changed it again, added another little peak. Like I said, I use these calendar shots here as inspiration. I don't try to make direct copies. Sometimes I do, but I try to make it my own here as much as I can. pressing it in there, scraping away some of that excess white. Oh, and it just leaves that beautiful little glow happening back there. Maybe we got another peak over on this side. Well, it's going to be really hard to see until I get the highlights and shadows going. But it'll be there. It'll be there. Okay. So excited to use a brand new brush. Press that brush right in there. You see that little edge form? Draw that out. Press it in, move that paint. And we can build out just the basic shape of the mountain. As Bob says here, we're not committed at all at this point. We just want to see a basic shape form here. This always reminds me of like when I'm watching Lord of the Rings there at the end of the movie. I think it's Two Towers. I don't know. When they first see the Misty Mountain right at the end of the movie. Or maybe it was The Hobbit. The end of the first Hobbit. I can't remember. Where you just see that big old mountain way off in the distance. Boy. Time to watch those movies again. It's Christmas. Isn't that like... These movies came out during Christmas time. Maybe it's a good idea to give it another watch. Okay. Ooh, gosh, my stomach is so full. Spaghetti, sausage, meatballs. All right, so what do we got here? We got our right side is going to be catching some highlights. Simple little touches. Using those brush strokes that we put on there as a guide. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide how much snow you want on your mountain, how much highlight, how much shadow. I like to work in stages here. Work some of this highlight on, then we'll switch to shadow. And then as we progress, we'll flip back and forth. Now keep in mind here, we're doing a night scene here, so everything doesn't need to be super duper bright. Maybe there's various deep crevices and such. Some bright spots here and there. Just sort of dropping this in. Ooh. You can really go crazy with it. One errant move and your mountain just grows and grows. Maybe back here, we'll see a little bit of a peak there. And maybe just a deep touch on that one. Let's make a shadow color. So I'm going to take up a lot of this residue, some of that titanium white, take a bit of the phthalo blue, scrape, 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 swoosh it out. Look at that. Maybe some blue in here. I tell you what, maybe a little bit of the black. Look at that. Variation of colors. I'll tell you what, maybe a little purple in there too. Who knows? Who knows? So, let us take a little roll of this, come up here and just graze some of this off the opposite direction. Maybe sneak in just a little bit right there. Oop, didn't have any on the edge there. That's going to make it harder if you don't have any paint on the knife. look at that. I tell you, that white, any bit of white shows up so bright on a night painting here. Create all these little cracks and crevices just by playing with the angles. That's what Bob always said. It's a game of angles. Change the angle of attack and you create this three-dimensional shape with no real work. Highlights go to the right, shadows go basically to the left. Get a little bit of overlap here or there, it's not the end of the world. In fact, you can take your highlight color again and you can clean up any edges here you think that need to be a little bit bolder. And then we come back with our shadow. Make sure our shadow makes sense. And there we go. And maybe, just maybe, let's change something here. Maybe this peak kind of comes out. Create this little turn here. And when we do that, we always come back and adjust the shadow and give a new shadow here. Got to keep that three-dimensional effect going. There we go. We got something moving now. Let's go ahead and I'll tell you what, let's add just a little something right there. I like it. Just some little ridge line there. Something's bugging me about this little guy up here, so there we go. Just had to clean that up a little bit. And when I did that, I realized maybe I don't have enough highlight right there. Oh, there it goes. Oh, I'm messing around with it too much. There we go. Boy, the more you mess with it, that's what I tell my students. The more you mess with it, the more you want to keep messing with it. At some point, you gotta give it a rest. All right. Speaking of that, I'm gonna stop, and we're gonna create some mist. Oh, look at this! Look how I pick up just a little bit of that highlight color, and we can actually grow the mountain or create the mist automatically just by tapping and moving, following the same basic angle of our mountain. Just like that, we create more. It's like you can double the volume of this mountain just by bringing it down another ½ inch or so. Just enough here to diffuse this highlight. Wiping out the brush if you want to. Helps control how much paint you load here. So I would advise wiping it on a paper towel now and again, or beating it on the edge of your easel if you've got a room to make a little mess in your studio. Following the basic angles. And gotta figure out what to do right there. Just tap it a little bit this way, a little bit that way, creating a little mist by crisscrossing. And there's still purple down here. I'm actually picking up a little bit of that color. Maybe create some purpley mist down here. Oh, what to do, what to do. I think we're going to jump right ahead. 100 miles or so. We're going to push this mountain back by creating some foreground here. And that paper towel got all filled up. Let's grab another one here. I wipe my fan brush there. All right, let's see how much of this purple we got left. Do we got some here? All right, we've got plenty of the purple. Let's add another little lump of midnight black to it. Okay. And we're going to load plenty of color into this small fan brush. The small fan brush. And let's just kaboom! Make some trees here. Making a line of background trees. Covering up some of this misty area, but leaving some as well. All we're looking for is just a basic idea here. Just some treetops. Just some treetops. And how far are we going over? Boy, I might run out of paint here pretty soon. I think I might have just enough to get what we need here. Tapping downwards, creating an indication here of some background stuff. I know I'm going to have to make some more color here, but I think I got that one done. You hit it too many times or don't have enough paint on your brush and it will get lighter on you. Okay. So let's go ahead here. I'm going to try to create a little bit of fogginess at the base of this. I just need to knock these down a little bit and then very lightly lift up. We want to try to keep a vertical profile here of these trees here. So you just lift up very lightly with your brush. Let's see how that looks. You might see the back of my head there. All right. And I'm going to clean that 1-inch brush. Okay. So, what are we going to do? I think what we're going to do is clean that fan brush as well. Maybe we'll have a wee little river running here, right? So I'm going to take just a touch of that titanium white and let's just try to figure out here where our river's running. I'm just scratching the color a little bit side to side, maybe making a couple little waterfalls and some splash. Working our way down. We'll come in and add some more details here. I'm just trying to figure out where this is going to live, just so I know what to put in next. And let's see here. Just start dropping in the snow. as we move away from the bright, it starts to get darker and darker. Look how it picks up that purple. Something like that. Cool. Now, I'm going to come back here with my 1-inch brush and let's smooth that a little bit. I think we want to have a little calmer snow. Nice. A little broken up area there. I like it. Gotta figure out what we're gonna do there. I think we're gonna have a little bit of land sort of peeking out there. So let's take a little bit of my midnight black. It might have a little bit of purple in there, but let's have a little bit of rock and stone. Hard to see because it's nighttime here. We'll just drop some of this in. Maybe this snow comes right to the edge. And then, because of the water, you get a little bit of exposed rock here and there. And we'll come back and clean up the edges here. We're just trying to figure out how to contain this water in spots here. Maybe there's a big old rock getting exposed right there. And I'm just using the knife and just slathering this paint right on top of the white. Don't worry too much about it. The more you mess with it, the more it wants to just mix in. And over on this side, oh well, maybe there'll be a little cliff edge here. Hard to see, I know. Hard for me to see right now too. I'm just looking kind of at the texture of the paint as my guide where this is going to be. Because I know I'm going to come back with some white paint and go over it again, so it's not critical here for you to see everything at the moment. Gotta have my liquid white here. A little bit of the liquid white, titanium white mixture. Back and forth, pulling it smooth. That way I can kind of figure out here, just bring in some more of this snow. Oh, let's just say a little bit of bright stuff right on over. We can add little highlights. There we go. Some spots here picking up the moonlight. And then very lightly, ever so gently with this 1-inch brush. I don't want to brush it all away. I just want to calm it down so it doesn't look too different from the snow. See that? The more you go over it with a clean brush, the softer you can make it. And just settle it right down into the scene. This little bit right here is a little too bright. Go over it just so briefly, and you can calm that right down. Alright. And after I wipe off most of that paint, now I can come back here and create some little splashes where the rock and the water meet. Get a little bit of movement going on here. See a little bit more of the splash over. And I think we'll have a little bit of, maybe a little bit of highlight, a little bit of snow coming off these rocks here. Just a little plane right there, a little cliff edge, so to speak. Maybe a little bit of highlight here on these rocks in front. They got a little bit of highlight here because they're a little closer, and we can see the streaking, the light kind of coming off them a little easier. But then some of these hidden hollows, you can't really see too much, and that's okay. It's okay for there to be dark and light working together. Some splashes here and there. There we go. We got a nice little scene. I don't think we could have a Christmas Day painting without a Christmas tree. So let's get an evergreen here. And how am I going to do that? Well, I think I'm just going to cheat and use just some of the black, some of the dark color I already have here. I'll add a touch of crimson to my purple and black, just so I can create just a big batch of dark. That's all I'm looking for here. I think I used too much crimson. Take the rest of that black, add a little hunk of the blue. The blue and the crimson will bring me back to purple. And then the black will dull everything down. So boom. Pretty simple palette here. Red, blue, black, and white. Now I've got a lot of paint. So let's drop in a couple of trees maybe. You can really change the dynamics of the scene just by changing the size of the tree. Now it's not so much of a raging river. Based on this tree, it looks a little more like a small stream. Or a babbly brook. And there we go. And let's get some highlight color here. I've got all this white left over. And I got some of this shadow color. I think I can mix it all together and get something interesting. Let's see. Lots of white, A little bit of that shadowy blue, a little cooler look to it. And just dancing in little patches of highlight. First on the background tree, and this one, maybe it's a little bit in front of it. There we go. Now, gotta clean up this base here. Pull some of that paint out here and sort of set these trees down into the scene. Create a little bit of shadow here at the bottom just by touching some of that dark shadowy bits here at the bottom and pulling it away. See that? You create highlights and shadows, set that thing right on down into the scene. Look at that. Added a little bright ridge right there. Play around with it just with the lightest amount of paint. Add in more highlights, more shadows. And we got ourselves a completed painting. Look at that. Not really going to do much more than that. Just wanted to have a fun little painting, and I wish you guys a Merry Christmas here with a special YouTube upload here. So I'm going to go take care of that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Merry Christmas.